Less than a year ago, the Chancellor walked into the biggest, most difficult decision of her career, cutting winter fuel payments for most pensioners. On the day, she told me why it had to be done.
It's not an easy decision to announce that winter fuel payment would only go to people receiving pensioner credit, but it's the right decision in the circumstances in which we find ourselves.
Fast forward to May, and it was that decision blamed for a dreadful night in the local elections. A month later, and now she says she's listened and will reinstate payments for 9 million out of the 10 million pensioners.
From this winter, 9 million pensioners will now receive winter fuel payments. It will be still means tested, but at a higher level.
Interview after interview, a succession of difficult questions.
I was always clear that the number one priority of this government was to return stability to the economy. We did that with a number of difficult decisions, but because of those decisions, our public finances are now in a better position.
Isn't it verging on fake news to claim that the economy is substantially better? The OBR halved growth in March. The OECD downgraded Britain just a week ago. It's just not true that we're in a better position.
Well, the Office of Budget Responsibility it increased the growth forecast for every other year.
There's a pattern post-local elections. The Labour left shouts and you crumble. Winter fuel gone without you telling us how you're going to pay for it. Two-child benefit cap being junked. Disability cuts softened. You're cosplaying fiscal discipline. Isn't this the worst nightmare of the markets? They are learning that you can't say no to your MPs.
I set out the spending envelope in the budget and the spring statement and we'll be setting out the spending settlements for every government department based on that envelope that we set in the budget and the spring statement. And markets and the public will be able to see public services living within their means, living within the totals that we set out this week.
Opponents call it an embarrassment.
The most humiliating climb down a government has ever faced in its first year in office.
This is a Chancellor who has been spooked by her own side, blowing a black hole of up to £1 billion in the budget that she's going to have to fill, probably with tax rises in the autumn, not the run-up to a spending review that any Chancellor would have wanted. Is Rachel Reeves a good Chancellor, Paul?
Rachel Reeves has, to be fair to her, inherited a really difficult situation. I think the error, if she's made an error, is she left herself so little space for manoeuvre in the budget back in October.
Will she now be forgiven by pensioners and forgiven by ex-Labour voters? Could this week be the one that leaves more people smiling on the Chancellor? Sam Coates, Sky News, Westminster.